right, welcome back to the What's Your Motor podcast. Today is a very special day, not only because of the person I have here, but it is Women's History Month, and we're also celebrating a Black author, a Black mother, entrepreneur, somebody that works in the city that works with kids as well. Her title is she works in the Diversity and Recruitment Office for Milwaukee County, specifically the Sheriff's Office. She goes into high schools as well as colleges, in which she works with the students on resume writing, interview preparation, and mentoring. I'm going to let you guys listen to her story as she lets me in on some of these things as we ask some questions. But please welcome Porsha Bates, a.k.a. P, to the What's Your Motor podcast. How you doing, P?
Hey, I'm doing good. What's going on?
Nothing much. Glad you were able to, make it. Especially given that it's March. I felt Women's Month,
Yeah.
Women's History Month. So I felt it was necessary to shine the light on a lot of people that I see doing some great work,
Yes.
Especially in your field in HR and things like that. So I'm happy to have you here, and I'm excited to talk about your book too.
Yes, me too. With it just recently releasing, so that's
Right.
very exciting actually.
It released
February 29th.
29th.
Leap year.
29th. Yes. A very special day. So, before we get into all of that, tell us a little bit about Porsha Bates and who she is and where she's from.
So just to piggyback off of what you said, well, I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, born and raised.
Born and raised.
I come from a family of Mississippi folks, but
Country.
yes, very. But I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Okay.
And just to piggyback off what you said, I am an HR professional, so I work hands-on with Milwaukee County and the entire Milwaukee County, with the focus on the sheriff for their recruitment efforts
Okay.
and their staffing needs. I also work closely with youth as well as, I don't like to refer to college students as youth because technically they're adults now.
Yeah, technically.
So,
right. You're right.
But I do work with the youth population.
Okay.
Age ranges, I want to say between like 8 or 9 all the way up until that they hit that adult stage, 17, 18.
That's
with mentorship and getting them ready for like the workforce. As far as the college students, I do a lot of job readiness prepping with them. And then, 2, just letting them know what's out there.
Right.
Believe it or not, a lot of them do not know what's out there.
Why is that, though?
And it varies. They have soft skills that they have developed throughout, like, working through high school.
Okay.
Like, McDonald's or,
Right.
The entry-level roles. But they have no idea what it's like to be a part of, like, an actual...
To be a professional.
Yes, to be a professional, a part of an actual organization, going into their career. Like, they're embarking on their career. So it's always fun and, like, exciting to kind of explain what I know currently. What they're getting themselves into, so...
How receptive are they when you, like, come in? Because, when we think about, like, kids nowadays and just in education, you know what I mean? You got different students on different parts of the spectrum in terms of, like, being super engaged. Some that's, like, in the middle, and some that's just, like, I don't care. Like, what have you seen and what do you do to, like, keep them engaged?
So, I would say freshman and sophomore college students, they aren't super engaged. They're like, I'm here because I have to be, this is part of my class.
Oh,
I have to get the credits for being here. But then you get those juniors and seniors, they're ready for internships.
Okay.
The seniors, they're coming upon, like, graduation.
Got you.
So they're ready. They're asking questions.
Right.
What is it like? What am I getting myself into? What can you tell me about the career choice that I have chosen? Did I choose the correct career field? What roles do you have, or have you ever done this? They ask a lot of questions, and that's what I love, the enthusiasm too. And then you get the high school students, the seniors that think like, oh, because I'm a senior going into college, I'm ready for a career. Like, no, let's slow down. We still got to teach you a lot of soft skills, before you can embark on those endeavors. And then the freshmen and sophomores of high school, they're a little different. They ask questions, but I feel like they asking questions because they might, they're just curious.
Right.
To see which direction they want to take.
Not really taking it serious, as really opposed to like those college seniors and things that's really about to get out there in the workforce.
Yep.
Okay, so when we think back to like going into high school, I'm trying to think of like, when did I learn my soft skills? Like, when did you learn like your soft skills and being able to? Because I remember working, right?
Me too.
And when I worked at, whether it was a Burlington, Finish Line, wherever it was, you had to have good customer service. You had to be polite. You had to speak. Your phone couldn't be used. Obviously, we would sneak it. You know what I mean? But nowadays, what are we seeing nowadays?
It's
like,
rough.
Right?
It's rough. It's so rough nowadays. And when I do, sometimes I try to separate the teaching portion.
Okay.
When I do like job readiness, I try to separate it and just actually be that mentor to let them know I'm here. Anything we talk about is confidential.
Got you.
Like you can open
that relationship piece.
Yes, building that relationship is probably like the first step that I try to take with all students that I work with. When I build that relationship piece with them, it's like they start to get more curious as to what they could do and what they're capable of.
They tapped into you then, and then you got their ear.
Exactly. Now I got their ear. Now I can steer you in the right direction and tell you what you need. Ask you questions. What do you want to do?
Right.
What do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? But yeah, that's a good question. Like, why? Some kids are super engaged. Some kids are not, and that could be a number of things.
Right. I mean,
their environment.
Absolutely.
It could be a number of things.
Absolutely, and I think what you said earlier was the fact that you start at the age like 8.
Yes.
That's huge. Like in terms of us really trying to get to them early to kind of plant those seeds and to expose them to that versus them getting exposed to whatever they got outside and what everybody else. I mean, because think about it, as a every black boy usually, what did they want to be when they was younger? I had a basketball player. I want to be some kind of athlete.
Exactly.
I wasn't thinking about a professional, doctor or things like that. That was the things that we would say. But 9 out of 10, I want to do something sports related. But for you to be able to push into these schools and get to those kids at those ages is incredible because you getting them early. You exposing them early.
It's so different. And then it's just, believe it or not, one conversation can just lead to so much. A conversation that they're not used to having, or a conversation it may be a little uncomfortable for them to have.
Right.
Those conversations, it opens their mind. It's like now they're curious.
Exactly.
Now they want to know more.
Exactly.
Now they want to continue to have those conversations.
And it's different from their day-to-day conversation with their friends, or I mean, sadly, maybe even with their parents and siblings and things like that.
Exactly.
And speaking of siblings, do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 5 siblings on each side. My mom's side, my dad's side.
Are you in the middle? Are you the oldest?
I'm in the middle.
What? Smack dab in the middle. So I asked the previous guest. My sister and I are 12 years apart. I'm the baby, so we pretty much kind of like, I grew up kind of like the only child. But I always heard like, some of my friends are like the middle child, and they say like it's different being a middle child. Is it really different being a middle child, or is that just something that people say? I mean, you got the experience.
It's different. So it's like, I say I'm the middle child because I'm really the second to youngest.
Okay.
But it's, sometimes, it's,
You're right.
You got a little more mature than some other siblings.
Got you.
Honestly, for me, it's a blessing because I have a big sister. That's my heart. You know. So, and then, I have a big brother.
Okay.
He's embarking on year 45.
Got you.
I'm just turning 30, so we have a huge gap.
But y'all close? Your relationships?
We're close.
Got you.
And then I have a younger brother. We, 4 years apart. You'll think we'll be the closest because we have the same mom, same dad, came up in the same household.
Right.
Took baths together, but it's
all of that.
We are the one. We probably the most separated.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes. And I'm like, maybe it's.
I don't know
why. Is it because he's a boy or what is it? But as the years.
Yeah, that is interesting. But I mean, you say you're closer to the siblings that are kind of like older.
My oldest brother is my closest sibling. My mom's oldest child.
And what's the age gap?
He'll be 45 and I'm 30. I'll be 31.
Wow, so 15.
Yes.
And my sister is 12 and we are super tight.
Yes. Me and my sister are super tight too.
And, how it is? What's the age difference between you and your sister?
She's 37. She'll be 37 this year.
Okay.
Yep.
Man.
So we're 6 years apart.
Okay.
And we can relate more because we're women.
Got you.
So it's like we can do more things together.
Okay.
We can have some similar conversations.
Absolutely.
When I'm talking to my brother, it's more like I'm talking to my dad.
Got you.
But it's like it's still that layer of protection.
Yep.
That draws me closer to him.
Got you.
So
that makes sense. What schools did you go to?
I went to Tulsa.
All your okay.
My whole life.
Tulsa. So like high school was Tulsa too?
Yes.
Tulsa.
I went to Underwood, Whitman, and Tulsa West.
Wow. All the way over there. How was it? What was the experience like in the Tulsa?
I loved it. I say every day because Spike is my son.
Right. Spike is 11, 10?
Yeah, he's 11.
11.
And Spike is currently on his Tulsa path.
Okay.
So he's,
you want him to
elementary, middle, high.
Uh-huh.
And every time I go to like the schools or go to one of the extracurricular activities, I'm just like, man, I miss it.
What?
I miss it. I love Tulsa.
It's nothing like being an alumni, huh?
It's nothing like being an alumni. And it's crazy because that's how I got Spike in. At first, they wasn't
I remember you telling me this.
At first, they wasn't letting me pull my alumni card. And then they finally just was like, come on with it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That connection. That's connection. So, after high school, what did you end up doing?
So it's funny because that's how I started to build my soft skills. In high school, I was enrolled in co-op.
Okay.
Meaning I had all my credits to graduate my junior year, but my mom is like, no, we're gonna keep going to school. Then
did they offer half a day?
They did. So I was in co-op and I was half day.
Okay.
So I was like 2 credits shy.
Okay.
So I could have took the extra class and been done my junior year.
Right.
But I enrolled myself in co-op.
Okay.
But I was into finance. So I was doing like accounting principles.
Okay.
All 3 years of high school. I'm just sure I'm gonna be an accountant. I had it all figured out. So I did banking. My job while I was enrolled in co-op, I was working at Tri-City National Bank.
Okay.
I worked there for 4 years. My entire senior year and then 3 years after.
As like a teller, or you got you?
Yep, I was a teller.
Okay.
And then when I left there, I went to Wells Fargo. At Wells Fargo, I was a teller for about 6 months, and then I was promoted to teller supervisor. When I was teller supervisor, I started to do more like hands-on with hiring, administrative work, the employee relations work, and I'm like, oh, I like this.
That was gonna be my next question. Like, is that kind of like what led you to HR?
Yes, that's exactly how I got into HR. I'm like, I like this, and then I was hearing Manpower offers entry-level human resource roles, like recruitment or employee relations. They offer entry-level roles. Well, let me just test my luck. Let me just test it out. I tested out. I landed a job with Manpower, and it went from there. And I stuck to recruitment. I have done employee relations and compensation and benefits, but talent acquisition is just like
that's your thing.
That's
your thing.
That's my thing.
That is your thing.
Talent acquisition is just my thing. It is.
And you just and now, I mean, so is that how? Okay, so after Manpower, did you go to the city after that, or?
No, so after Manpower, I went to Lakeside school buses.
Okay.
That's how I started mentoring, because a part of our contract with NPS was we had to do a certain amount of hours, with like their extracurricular activities.
Okay.
And that's how I got into the schools.
So you were working doing the HR at Lakeside?
Yes.
And one of the requirements was for you to do that type of mentorship with the kids.
Yep. Be engaged.
That's not bad.
With the students, exactly. So anyone could have did it, but it's just like I'm in HR. And it's like, let's start to teach these. They have a job readiness program.
I never knew that.
Yeah, they have a job readiness program at NPS, and I used to always attend all the workshops. I attended all the workshops for all the high schools for the students that were enrolled, and then every year they have these NPS junior and senior career fairs that they hold at UWM.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
I brought I brought that over to the county.
For real?
So now we go to those, career events and talk to those students now.
So
I still do it.
So you was able to implement that when you got over there. So you've been HR, recruitment heavy, and you know where to go in terms of like getting those kids and jumping into them career fairs. That's crazy. I wonder, do all the bus companies are they required to do that? Like some of their HR staff, or you just know about Lakeside for sure?
I just know about Lakeside, so I'm not sure. I just know that was a part of the contract. Like we would have to do a certain amount of hours, like being engaged with the students.
Was that like your first time dealing with students?
It was.
Like really being engrossed in it?
Really being hands-on when I was at Lakeside. And that was about, that was 2019. That's when I first started.
What was that like when you were like, do you remember like your first time interacting with the kids and stuff like that?
I do.
How did you feel?
They scared me because they was,
yes.
I went to the Barack Obama school before. It was Custer first.
Right.
Before they changed
Correct.
That was my first school. They scared me. They scared me so bad.
Why? Because they was bigger?
They was bigger. They was outspoken.
Okay.
They was, know, they intimidated me a little bit, but it's just because I wasn't so used to dealing with that many children at one time.
Right.
And then it was...
Were you by yourself?
I was. And it was children from all backgrounds. I mean, of course, I want to say her name is Tamara.
Okay.
She's one of the coordinators at NPS
for
the Job Readiness Program. They was there.
Okay.
They was there, but it was like the group of students that I had, it was just, they was coming at me. They was coming at me. But then when I opened the door to, allowing them to ask like a little more personal questions.
Right.
That's when that relationship started to.
That's when you did your thing. That's when it clicked.
That's when it clicked. Like, yeah, this for me.
And you fell in love with the educational piece after that.
Yep.
Look at that.
Look at that. And I just tied everything together. And it just.
And it works.
It works. It's been that since then.
So with you doing all that and being so active, like in a community like that and working your job and stuff like that, like, what is it like being like a working mother? Obviously, Spike is playing basketball. He in sports. He going to school. What is it like being like this mother that's working, has her son, but also being an entrepreneur, like writing a book and things like that? Like, how do you find quality time and stuff for you and Spike?
It's hard.
It's hard?
It's hard. It's really, really hard. Off days that Spike has from like basketball when he doesn't have practice, training games, I try my best to maneuver events that I might have.
Okay.
And then too, those are the days I work from home.
Okay.
So I'm at school. It's 2:20. Come on, it's time to go. What we doing today?
Right.
Know? And then other times it's just like I kind of have to sit Spike down and say, "Hey, son, I have to do this today," But it's not necessarily a choice. It's a choice, but it's not necessarily a choice.
Got you.
Because I have to do it.
Right.
In order to keep you with everything that you need. Want.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you know Spike, Spike is that's an easygoing kid.
Right.
Kid is so easy to please.
Self-sufficient.
It's very efficient.
No.
And I try my hardest though. I'm not gonna lie. Weekends though, Sundays, no work.
No work.
I don't allow work. I don't allow calls for assistance. I don't allow it. It's just when Spike comes home, he come home Sundays.
Would y'all eat together and stuff, or okay?
We going out to eat. We doing whatever. Whether it's at the house, we watch a TikTok video.
Right.
Showing me how to play the game is something. So,
soaking up that time.
But it is very hard.
Right. I mean, eventually he'll be a teenager and he ain't gonna be around you.
He kind of like that now.
He kind of like that now.
He is. He antisocial.
Okay.
Spike is very antisocial. Believe it or not, being a basketball player, that kid is very antisocial. And it's hard for me to sometimes make him open up.
Got you.
So, but
around other people, right?
With me too.
Oh, really?
So now he's becoming his own person, He's
becoming that young man too, right?
I don't have to think for him anymore. So
right.
that plays a factor in trying to spend quality time because he like, when I'm not playing, I play basketball so much, I want to play my game.
Got you. And get on in with them friends, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dang.
But it's hard.
Right.
It's definitely
it's worth
something that it is still learning. Just learn as I go. I was a young mom. The whole almost 12 years. I've just been learning as I go.
Really?
Honestly, just learning as I go. There's always something new, especially nowadays.
Uh-huh.
Always something new.
Always something new with that. So, you said you were young?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
I was 19 when I had Spike.
Okay, okay. When you first seen him, what was your first thought?
Man, he looked like my dad.
What?
I was like, this kid looked just like my dad.
Uh-huh.
And then I was just asking my mom, like, what am I to do? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I remember we went home.
Uh-huh.
We went home. I was staying with my mom at the time. We went home. I'm telling my mom, like, well, I got to start looking for a house.
Uh-huh.
And she like, you don't know nothing about having a house. You.
Right.
I was one of those kids that was pretty much spoon fed. So
Right, got you.
Like, where do you think you going with my grandbaby? You're not going
nowhere.
nowhere.
Oh, so mom's like, no,
Yeah.
you can stay here or whatever.
Yeah. But I remember I didn't know how to change a pamper.
Uh-huh.
I did not know how to change a diaper. I used to put it. It's too tight. You look at his stomach. It's too tight.
Woo.
Yeah.
But now, you consider yourself a vet, and I'm sure the journey was beautiful, especially,
Yeah.
Spike is definitely a well-mannered young man from, our encounters. Of course, he's super goofy.
Yeah.
Him and Walt get along well. So I'm already knowing, like, had to be a great journey, and I know you're looking forward to continue to do it, especially seeing him grow up and be better at basketball and be active, and like you said, being his own person.
Yeah.
So changing gears, you wrote a book.
I did.
That's a big deal. And I remember, like you were saying the other day, like I was kind of nervous, I was worried. Dude, you wrote a book. You know how many people can actually say that they wrote a book? Like, what made you want to write the book?
Dude, I'm always looking for ways to improve myself, but then also always looking for ways, like, to help those in need. Especially, I come across a lot of people that's like, I'm so used to doing my own thing.
Right.
Whether it's like, some sort of entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
I'm so used to doing my own thing, but I want to, look towards starting a career.
Right.
I don't know where to start.
Gotcha.
Or if I do know where to start, I just don't know how to land this job.
Right.
But then you have some people that's, they've been in their career and their current roles for so long and they want to change gears and they don't know how to.
That transition, right?
That transition. So I remember for Department of Health and Human Services, they had a professional development day.
Okay.
And I did a presentation on how to interview.
Okay.
And it was like the feedback that we received it was me and it was my coworker Rocky.
Okay.
We did it together. But the feedback that I received on it, I'm like, just imagine how many people outside of Milwaukee County can utilize this information. So
absolutely.
That's what made me start thinking about it. Like, I'm gonna put this into paper. I'm not gonna lie. At first, I thought I was just gonna, just push this information out how I could. I did not think it was gonna turn into a book. But then as I started building like the document and adding more information, it just started getting super lengthy. I'm like, okay, we making it into a book.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started to, like shift how I word things or things that I say or, like what I could put inside to actually make it become
this guide.
And
so you were writing it over time, like piece by piece, like plugging away at it. Yeah. Did you devote like time to it, or you was like, today I'm going to do that, or you just was like, oh, I got this downtime, I'm gonna use it?
I'm not gonna lie. At first, that's how it was because I wasn't taking it seriously. But then, as I started to put myself out there more, like as an HR professional, and people started to ask me certain questions, like, can you help me with my resume?
Right.
Can you give me interview tips?
Got you.
So that's what made me put a lot more time, like set a lot more time aside for it.
And you know what's crazy when you just said that people transitioning from different, they've been in a career for umpteen years, and they trying to do something else, and them not knowing what to do because they've been stuck in this thing for so long. So it's crazy that a professional, an adult, doesn't even have those skills, or maybe they're just dormant and they don't have them anymore. They forgot how to use them,
Exactly.
and they need to upgrade to the new standard, the new way in which you interview and things like that.
Exactly.
Because even when I was reading there, I know a lot that you talk about in the book is about researching a company.
Yes.
How many people are told to research a company? I remember I was told that, but like to
I
see
was.
that it was like, yeah, you do got to research a company and look at the mission and vision and
Yep.
things. All those things that you have in there are like super super essential. And one of the things with the summer youth internship program with the city of Milwaukee, I would love for you to come do something with them, because those are typically juniors and seniors in high school getting ready to go to college and prepare for college.
Oh yeah.
And we do a day where where it's about like healthy eating, healthy living, financial literacy, soft skills and things like that. So that's right up your alley. So when you told me that, I'm like, yeah, we gotta have you this summer.
Yeah.
We gotta have you
You
this
know I'm
summer.
with it.
We got to
I'm
have you this
definitely
summer.
with it.
When you were writing, did you like what challenges or like things came about? Like, did you get they call it writer's block?
I would definitely say sometimes it's hard for me to say or write out what I'm thinking.
Okay.
And I feel like I ran into that issue a lot. It's like, how do I put this on paper? Is how do I get this message out without confusing a reader, or without throwing too much information at them that they don't understand it.
Gotcha.
I ran into that a lot.
Okay.
I know some of the information in the book was like, it was hard to get it down,
Simplify it.
It was hard to simplify it. There you go. And that probably was my biggest challenge, because just so much more information that I wanted to put in a book, but it's just like I just can't do it, because that'll be too overwhelming of a read. So
right, but now you got the book, so then people that read the book and look into it, they can reach out to you now, and you could be that resource for them.
And that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping.
Who all do you hope will like benefit from your book?
Honestly, everyone.
Everyone. No, for sure.
Students.
Okay.
Those that's looking for, like a career shift or a career change.
Okay.
That don't know how to prepare for that interview.
Absolutely.
And they don't know the skills that, they can push in those interviews to land those jobs. And then, too, believe it or not, I believe 70% of the workforce right now is like passive candidates, and they don't know that they're passive candidates. A lot of them look for that upward mobility, and they don't have it. So then when they figure it out, it's like, okay, so how do I embark on the next step?
You said passive candidates?
Yes.
Break that down for me. What is the passive candidate?
So a passive candidate
You're teaching me something.
To me, a passive candidate, they're currently working. They're not looking for new employment.
Oh, okay.
But it's like, if we have the right conversation, I guarantee I can get you to come on over,
Right.
So a lot of those passive candidates that don't know they are passive candidates, if they get their hands on the book, it's like, okay, well, this recruiter reached out to me. Obviously, they did the research already. That's how I am. I love passive candidates.
Right.
I do my research first before I reach out.
Got you.
By the time our conversation is over, you're ready for the next conversation.
Got you.
You have to prepare for this next conversation now. Because now it's going to be, me interviewing you.
Got
I feel
you.
like this first conversation is just me telling you what me and my organization is about. Allowing you to ask questions on why you should come over to the organization. Now it's everything that I've done my research on. Is it true? Everything that I've seen, or that I've researched and found out about you, is it true now? So now tell me about all these accomplishments. Tell me about your experience and backgrounds. So I'm hoping that they could land the book too. And they'll know how to maneuver through that interview.
Got you. Have you ever, and I'm sure you have, so this might be a crazy question, but have you ever interviewed somebody and their resume didn't line up with what they said they actually accomplished or did?
Yes.
Okay. What is that like? Like, what is that feeling to like be interviewing somebody and you find out like, dude, you didn't jack all the way through this thing.
And that's why I like to tell people, make sure you know your resume.
Right.
If you reach out to me for resume assistance and you go apply to the job, but you don't know anything that's on your resume, you didn't read the resume and they're asking you about it, know yourself, know your resume. Mm-hmm. How are you gonna sell yourself if what you put on paper doesn't align with what you're selling, you know?
That's what I'm saying.
But yes, I've run into that issue so many times where candidates will they'll be talking and I'm just like, but I want to know what you know,
right?
These accomplishments and
right.
these experiences.
Exactly. You gotta
elaborate on this.
Exactly.
And they can't. So I'm just like, okay.
Okay. So another question: have you ever ran into somebody that posed as somebody else? So meaning like you might have talked to this person on the phone, like, yeah, I want you to come in for an interview, and it was either somebody else that came in or like a virtual one. I only say that because we had an instance like that when I was a associate principal. We had somebody actually apply for a position
for someone else,
but it was somebody else on the other end, like taking it for him. You're like, oh, okay. Then you meet them in person. You be like,
this is not you.
This is not you.
I'm not gonna lie. I have heard about stories, similar to that, but I have not really ran into those type of issues. When I was working at Manpower though, I worked with a lot of individuals that were being placed on temporary assignments.
Okay.
And you will get those moms, dads, sisters that's calling in for little sister or little brother.
Okay.
You know, posing to be them, but it is like when they come in for the actual interview, this is not who I was talking to. This was not. Depending on the job, it's like, okay, I get it. You know, you're fresh out of high school or
right.
You know, you're younger. You don't know much about the workforce. So mom, dad, sister, brother is trying to help you. But this is not who I was
right. On the phone. And then it's like, you know, as a parent, you know, like you said, we get it. Like you're trying to help them out, but how are they truly going to learn how to navigate these space, these jobs, these workplaces, these individuals they got to have conversations with if they don't experience it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand that. So that's another reason why I think your book is even more important because, okay, let's check out this book. Here you go. I got this top candidate book. Let's look here. Let's go to page such and such. This is what you really need to be focusing on when you get to this interview. Exactly. And even attire.
Exactly. What
do you, tell me some things that you mentioned in the book about attire.
I always tell people, a lot. You'll hear a lot of people say dress for the job.
Right.
Me personally, no. You want to make first impression is everything. When I hear interview, I automatically just think like, okay, I have to go dress to impress. You know?
Right.
I have to go dress professionally. I have to make sure that first impression is like, okay, wow, I really want to meet this person again. Whether it's a second interview or whether it's calling you back saying, hey, you got the job.
Right.
So I definitely say, I always encourage everybody, dress professionally for whatever interview you're going for.
Man.
And to me, I do not like when people wear jeans to interviews.
I was just about to say that. Because I was about to say, like, professional dress
nice pair of slacks.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
A nice blouse, a nice top, button up, tie if you want.
Yeah, you know.
Nice blazer, jacket,
yeah.
Sometimes dressing too casual
sends the wrong message, right?
Yeah, it just sends the wrong message. I don't really care.
And it's crazy because I was thinking about that, like when you like let me read, I was just thinking like, dang, that's crazy because I still think like professional dress is either a suit or some khakis, a shirt, and a tie. Yeah. You know, like you said, a young lady with even if she has some nice dress pants on, a blazer, a long enough skirt, you know what I mean, things like that. But I know now, like when you look at casual and business casual, you can get, you know, them lines are blurred. Right? I mean, you could wear Jordan 1s.
Yes. And I say business professional. I never really like the term business casual. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes business casual could mean a dark pair of jeans, a nice shirt with a blazer.
Gotcha.
Sometimes that could pass, but me, I 100% do not recommend wearing jeans to an interview.
I second that. No jeans. No jeans to the interviews. No jeans to the interview. Just put on the khakis. Yeah. Do it the standard way in which we were all taught when we were younger. Obviously, I don't know about the kids nowadays. I don't know what they are taught.
They different.
Yeah, they different.
It's so different. And that's another reason why I like going into the schools, even into the colleges. Because, like you said, they don't know how to operate in some of these spaces. So it's just like, I'm here to help.
Right.
I love to help the kids. I love the babies, man.
Do you envision Top Candidate, your book, getting inside the school in some form or fashion?
Yes. And right now, I'm trying to figure out a way to do so.
Okay.
Whether I'm going to push it through, like NPS, for example, they have that job readiness program. Students that's enrolled in that program will get a copy of, the book, and maybe I could visit each one.
That would be beautiful.
Each school, and kind of elaborate on what's inside.
Right.
Because it is some words in there that they may not understand. So.
But that's what they got you for.
Exactly.
Yeah, bring me in to speak. You know what I mean? To talk about it, because I was just thinking about that because there's one lady in New York that I connected with, and I actually sent her your contact information too. Okay. And she does hers on financial literacy. And it's like an ABC book. It's like a kid book, and she in like 10 schools in New York. Yeah. So with Top Candidate, and especially with a lot of that stuff being taken out of some of the schools, especially the public schools, in terms of like, remember they used to have home ec, they used to have driving school, they used to have public speaking. I'm sure they probably do in some schools, but a lot of it I've seen taken out. So if you able to invoke and use some of that stuff and get to those kids in there, I think that would be crucial. I definitely want you for the summer youth internship program, because these kids need it. Remember, they're on internships that whole summer. We have to teach them the soft skills, and they learn it. And boy, I'm a team leader, and I be having to. Yeah. You can't do that. You cannot wear that. That is not your uniform. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes it is difficult to kind of get the messages through to some of the students. So that's kind of where I take the opportunity to let's turn this side off for a second,
right?
And let's get to know you for a second, so then I can open this door, because baby, we have to get this together.
You got to be real with them. Sometimes you got to be a little raw and uncut, right? Like, hold on.
Yes, and believe it or not, that's what they respect more.
There you
go. We support the zoo and the parks too.
For real?
Yes. So we have these hiring events.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. All of the parks in Milwaukee County we cover for their hire.
What?
So we have, at Milwaukee County, often we have these zoo hiring events where they interview on the spot and they can get the job on the spot, as well as for the parks, as well as for the sheriffs.
On-site interview, yeah.
We get, the only difference with the sheriffs is you have to be 18, 19.
Okay.
With the zoo and the parks, we hire high school.
Got you.
For summer, because it's seasonal roles.
Right.
And I'll get a nice chunk of students that'll come in and they'll say, "Oh, I'm here to apply for a job. What I got to do?" First of all,
just like that.
Let's go back. Let's rewind. And this is how you're going to speak to the next person that you speak with, because they're going to turn you around. But I'm here to tell you that's not how you talk to anyone. And then it's pull your pants up, take your hood off. If you don't have a belt, roll your pants up and put your shirt over it so they can't see.
P, what does that say about society for a kid to come to a job fair or whatnot, and this is their language? I can't apply for a job. What I got to do?
Yes.
As opposed to, I'm here for this. X, Y, Z, can you put me in direction for, that type of dialogue?
I redirect them every single time. I can't,
right.
I don't even know what to say.
It don't sit well.
It does not sit well with me at all. And then too, you'll have those that'll come in. Hey, how you doing? I'm here to apply for a park worker,
right?
Admissions, whatever they're coming to apply for. Phenomenal first impression, but they come in with a strong odor.
And that's part of your attire.
That's part of your attire. Or they come in with just not, like they come
the mannerisms
in,
aren't there.
Their mannerism is there, and they're dressed to. They just seem like they just don't care.
Yeah, I know the apathy.
It's like, dude, you showed up, so you have the job. I love to see youth show up. You know how many youth that walks through that door? I'm like, I'm gonna make sure you leave with a job. You showed up, like that shows you know something. That's a start, but it's how you show up, and I always reiterate that. Like, is how you show up, is how you speak to others,
Right.
And then you'll get some that's holding their head down.
Yeah.
It's like pick your head up.
Right.
Pick your head up. You know.
And it's tough because I guess. I mean, you getting them and you see, maybe they're not taught it. So then now you gotta teach it and reteach it. Another reason why we got Top Candidate. Shout out Top Candidate.
Yes.
And then it's just like, when I think about the kids, and that's why, I have intrinsically motivated, right? Because I want them, you want kids to want to succeed. You want them to want to talk well. You want them to want to get a job because you want them to feel good about, doing something.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of kids are just motivated, just like, I'm here, doesn't want to get this and get some money?
Yes.
As opposed to like really trying to better themselves,
yes.
Self-development, growth,
Yes. I would say 75% of the 75%, and I hate to say this, 75% of the youth in Milwaukee is just there thinking that it's just a quick paycheck. Like, you can tell. But then when I have hiring events, if I take it out to like the colleges, I get a total different atmosphere. Or if we're at like in Tulsa, or if we out in Brookfield, and it's just like, that's why I'm so like the 53206 initiative is what I'm currently working on.
Okay.
It's like a majority of my time in the summertime is gonna be spent with the youth that don't think they have these resources,
And that's the 53206 initiative.
Yes, but it's not necessarily just going to be focused on 53206.
Right.
It's just, I feel like 53206 is probably one of the roughest areas.
Okay.
So it's just, those are a lot of the youth that come into those job fairs are from, 53206 to 53209.
So y'all track that?
Yeah, because it's on their resume. And when we pull the data, we see, how many of each from each zip code showed up. So it's just like, when I look at it and then I analyze everything, it's just like, they need help, man. They just need help, and they need somebody that care to help them versus just, you need to do this, go do this, or stereotyping them. Because you get a lot of people, you'll see somebody walking up or walking out the store with their hood on and their pants sagging, they
get profiled right away. But you all about the guidance piece. Like, I see you like this. Okay, cool. Let me help you out real quick.
Exactly. I spoke with a young man. I'll never forget him. His name is Trey. I'll never forget him. He came to the Parks event. We was at Zufari on Blue Mountain Road. That's where a lot of our hiring events are hosted.
Okay, yep, I know what you're talking about.
I'll never forget him. He probably... If he see me today, he's never going to forget me either. He came in. When I say, you'll think he just got done interview prepping, that young man talked me down to my socks. I said, okay. But he came in, his pants was sagging, he had his hood on. And then I'm like, you got to turn around, come in with your hood off, pull your pants up. He said, okay, I'm going to do it. He went back outside, he came back in, his pants was up, his pants was folded. I said, but you can still see,
Right.
And at this point, this is just me, giving him pointers.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't.
It's a training. You training him.
So he turned around. He came back in. His hood was off. His pants was up, but he still had an odor to him, and it was a marijuana odor.
Gotcha.
I'm like, so now you got to go back to your car and get this odor together. He went back to the car. He got the odor together. He came back in, and he had the interview. He had the interview with John. John said, man, this young man is something serious. He said he's something special. And then when he got done, he was like, thank you, thank you, thank you. He kept saying Miss P. Everybody's like, who is Miss P? Like, her right there. But I'll never forget that young man, because it's those students that's like, people will look at them and just not want to give them a chance.
Write them off.
Had I not said anything, he would have been turned around, but his interview was probably one of the best interviews we had all day. So it's just like that. So that's why I say the 53206 initiative is just appearance is everything. The soft skills, appearance is a start. The soft skills, you know, come shortly after.
Right. Shout out Trey, man.
Shout out to Trey.
He
set the tone, and he took the constructive criticism that I gave him. He took it and he soaked it up. He didn't give me any pushback. Each time I turned him around 3 times. That hood, those pants, and that strong odor of marijuana. Each time, he did it with no issue.
You know why that's so beautiful? I love that story. And one reason why I do is because a lot of our kids, like you said, you know, when they dress a certain way, when they look a certain way, act a certain way, and sometimes they be insecure about themselves.
They do.
They are thrown by the wayside, dismissed, or not even, you know, some people wouldn't even take the chance or took the time to do what you did, to provide that training and reteaching. And then even for him to accept it, you were able to pull out the potential in that kid. And I think we need more people like that, right? To pull out the potential, because obviously you seen something in him, regardless of how he dressed and how he smelled. You like, no, come on. And then look what happened after that. And then you got a kid that thanks you. And then, I'm sorry, end up getting a job probably.
Yeah, he did.
He got hired.
He did. He got hired, and he finished the entire season out.
Do you see?
He finished the entire season out.
What are we doing? Why are we not doing this on a regular?
Yeah, exactly.
Where is everybody at, right?
Exactly.
You know?
I always ask, like, where is everyone? You'll even get, like, some people is like, hey, can you come out, you know, speak with the students, speak with the youth? Yes, I can. But then you'll get there and you'll just have those adults that's there that's just like, I don't want to be here, like, And I'm just like, as long as they feel and see that energy that you're giving off, that's
right.
That's why they're doing it. They don't care. They feel like don't nobody care about them.
And if you come in, like you said, with that energy, they going to feel that energy. Because the kids are not dumb. They good at filling out energy and filling out somebody. You know what I mean? They're really, really perceptive. I don't think we give them enough credit, especially when they're young. Like, in terms of knowing who to touch. You know what I mean? Who really here for them and things like that.
A kid will tell you. If a kid tell you they don't like someone, you should take
heed
to
that. Right.
Take heed to that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think, and you pretty much talked about it, but, you know, my final question would be, like, what's your motive? Like, I think you kind of, like, gave me a lot of it. What's your motive for, you know, doing what you do?
Honestly, growth.
Okay.
Believe it or not, working with youth, I feel like that's in addition to my continued growth.
Okay.
Like, growth will always be one of my top motivators because I'm one of those that I showcase my willingness to learn every day.
Gotcha.
I learn something new every day, whether it's about people, places, or things.
Okay.
I learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I was telling Spike the other day, I don't care if I'm the smartest person in the world. There's always going to be something for me to learn. And when I learn, it's like I can't teach if I don't continue to learn. I can't continue to teach. So it's that growth piece.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest motivator. The opportunity to grow. And that's my favorite. That's probably my number one question that I ask in interviews.
Okay.
You know, like, what type of opportunities do you guys have here for growth?
Right.
Because without growth, it's like, I don't like being at a standstill.
Right. You don't want to be stagnant.
You don't want to be stagnant at all. So it's growth.
And a lifelong learner, right?
Lifelong learner.
Just continue to do it. And I think that's wonderful. The fact that you even said, like, I could be the smartest person in the room, but guess what? I'm still here to learn.
Yeah, I'm still here to learn. Believe it or not, I'm going to learn something from someone in here.
Mm-hmm. And I may even learn something for myself while I'm teaching.
Exactly.
So I think that's beautiful. But also, I just want to shout out your book again, Top Candidate.
Top Candidate.
And I want to shout you out to Black Author Brand. So hopefully they watch this because I have their shirt on. I wore Black Author. I wore the Black Author shirt because I'm sitting right here next to a Black Author. So I wanted to make sure, you know, tap into Top Candidate. Where can they find Top Candidate?
PorshaBCollection.net currently.
Okay.
It'll be listed on Amazon fairly soon. And it will be a part of Prime.
Shout out Amazon.
Amazon Prime. But yes, currently right now, Top Candidate, How to Land Your Dream Job.
Mm-hmm.
You can find it at the website, our own website. It's PorshaBcollection.net.
PorshaBcollection.net.
Yes.
And is that collection with a K?
Yes, collection with a K.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that they knew. So make sure y'all tap into Top Candidate. Go get it. I already got my copy. I downloaded it. I read it already. It's definitely worthwhile. It is a gem. It's the truth. It's the truth. Thank you, P, for blessing the podcast. Just want to make sure we shine a light on you, shine a light on these people that I see that are doing great work. Until next time, what's your motive?